Batang saya boleh. Kalau yang besar yang 4 orang itu ya kita bisa potong 50.
Climate change is one of the biggest global challenges of our time. Rising sea levels and global warming are already affecting Indonesia and the communities who live across the 17,500 islands. Indonesia has the world's 3rd largest tropical rainforest, but also has one of the highest deforestation rates in the world.
REDD activities and greenhouse gas emissions reduction are in fact ways and means to produce a development that does not leave the people behind. We have to do it making sure that the people will benefit. If the people do not benefit, they will not sustain it.
Reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, REDD or REDD+, is an effort to create incentives for developing countries to protect the forest and by this reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases. The plus represents conservation, sustainable management of forests and enhancement of forest carbon stocks, for instance planting new trees.
Harus menebang, begitu menebang harus menanam. Itu aturan kami.
The idea is that forest owners or managers will be rewarded for avoided deforestation, based on the carbon that has not been emitted. With forest land covering around 70% of Indonesia, REDD+ has become a national priority.
Komitmen untuk mendukung komitmen dari Presiden Republik Indonesia yang untuk tahun 2020 tadi sudah disampaikan tanpa bantuan dari luar kita harus bisa 26%, terus kemudian dengan bantuan dari luar kita harus bisa mencapai 41%.
The United Nations UN REDD programme is a global effort between FAO, UNDP and UNEP to support developing countries in getting ready for a global REDD+ system. Supported by Norway, Indonesia is one of the pilot countries where the UN collaborates together with the Ministry of Forestry to support the government in developing a fair, equitable and transparent REDD+ structure.
Saya harap UN REDD dapat bekerja lebih baik, bersifat inklusif, mengajak semua pihak untuk partisipasi dengan mengutamakan dialog, sehingga kita bisa memperoleh manfaat yang luar biasa untuk pengambilan kebijakan baik pada tingkat masyarakat lokal, pemerintah daerah, bupati dan provinsi, dan juga pemerintah pusat. Dialog.
UN REDD Programme Indonesia has supported the work of the new REDD+ task force, as well as the National Development Planning Agency Bappenas. For example, by facilitating the development of Indonesia's national REDD+ strategy through an inclusive and transparent multi-stakeholder consultation process.
Tentang konsultasi nasional kemarin ya dibuat itu sangat bagus, sangat bagus sudah, karena di konsultasi nasional itu narasumber menyampaikan UN REDD apa, REDD+ apa, kemudian peserta menanggapi dengan serius.
Forests absorb 5 billion of the 32 billion tons of greenhouse gases emitted annually by human activities. However, deforestation and forest degradation contribute to 15 to 20% of global emissions. These emissions cause climate change and loss of biodiversity and have a serious impact on the livelihoods of millions of people who depend on the forests.
Ini coklat kurang jadi dia karena ada hitam-hitam bagian pantat, pengaruh hujan terlalu tinggi.
Yami pengaruh na daga ya otele. Moma na belo paeta. Ane mo sangkita hebe ila mure ne bitemi. Pamonaria eo.
The UN REDD programme aims to contribute to a REDD+ structure that reduces greenhouse gas emissions, ensures protection of the valuable biodiversity of Indonesia's tropical forests, and supports the livelihoods of indigenous peoples and local communities.
Mama Maria kau kue mai mama ngangwa dia koniaku nakum. Aji rau me kau aku bolu. Hangkuan poko na butueo na danang kolo kau hewai mutoe. Mamate ada aku itu mama Maria kauku.
Isu-isu REDD tentang emisi karbon begitu. Dan yang kita ini itu jangan sebentar biar ambil kayu api untuk kebutuhan yang begini sudah tidak bisa.
The UN REDD program wants a REDD Plus system, which provides multiple benefits for the environment and social benefits for the people, such as the creation of new jobs, clarification of land ownership, multi-stakeholder participation in decision-making, and equitable and transparent distribution of benefits. Therefore, UN REDD strongly prioritises the free, prior and informed consent, or FPIC principle, for interaction with local communities.
No rights, no right.
No right, no REDD.
FPIC itu adalah hak yang dimiliki oleh masyarakat adat untuk memutuskan iya atau tidak terhadap pembangunan yang diusulkan di atas tanah masyarakat adat. Di workshopnya sampai FGD-nya itu dimasukkanlah deklarasi PBB pengakuan tentang hak masyarakat adat, itu disepakati untuk direvisi draft Stratnas itu.
Selama ini pengalaman saya sebagai perempuan adat melihat dari realita yang ada dengan isu perubahan iklim itu penting sekali kita bicara FPIC itu untuk partisipasi perempuan.
Measurement, reporting and verification, or MRV, is another area where the UN REDD program contributes with technical expertise in order to ensure that the protection of forest and the reduction of emissions actually take place. Satellite images and measurements in the field are some of the MRV tools that are used to monitor the forest.
The MRV, how do we make sure that we have a good baseline data, and how do we make sure that we can monitor the progress towards the REDD activities?
Recently, the pilot province of UN REDD Indonesia was launched in central Sulawesi. This is where the UN REDD program will support the government and other stakeholders to develop and test methodologies such as MRV, benefit distribution systems, and FPIC.
UN REDD Indonesia itu kan sebetulnya jembatan antara government dengan pihak-pihak yang akan terlibat dengan REDD Plus tadi, dan fasilitator. Nah, itu membantu kita untuk bisa nyusun tadi yang saya katakan strateginya apa.
In Indonesia, a major part of greenhouse gas emissions are caused by land degradation, inappropriate land uses and land conversion. Legal and illegal logging for paper and pulp, legal and illegal conversion of forest to palm oil plantations, and mining are all examples of activities that degrade and destroy the forest.
Karena orang perusahaan masuk kerja di tanah adat kita, dia ambil hutan kita, dia kerja, terus dia hancurkan alam-alam hutan, terus dia tidak memajukan masyarakat.
REDD Plus can help Indonesia reverse this tendency by rewarding the protection of forest, enhancement of carbon stocks, and sustainable management of forests.
Pohon kalau banyak seperti ini rubuh akan ini panas sekali, kan tidak?
Ya mengerti sih, tapi bagaimana ya? Karena kita biasa sekolah juga jadi kan ini sudah kerjaan kita dan tidak ada kerjaan lainnya. Itulah namanya kerjaan.
In terms of biodiversity, Indonesia's rainforests are one of the richest places on Earth. Whereas the Sumatran tiger and rhino already face extinction, the orangutan, the man of the forest, could be the first great ape species to disappear unless extraordinary efforts to protect the forests are made soon.
Sangat terasa. Alam tidak berbicara lagi secara bersahabat dengan kami. Kami tahu misalnya burung ini dia bisa kasih suara begini, burung itu sudah tidak ada. Pohon yang itu sudah tidak ada, diganti pohon lain.
Indonesia loses more than 1 million hectares of forest every year due to the logging of timber, pulp and paper because of the creation of palm oil plantations and also forest fires.
Jadi itu dulunya hutan, mereka bakar-bakar itu, sekarang itu rusak.
Through fighting climate change and preserving the forest, REDD Plus can support the poor communities who work in climate-sensitive sectors such as agriculture or fisheries.
let's work on this together. Let's fight together. Be it a South-South cooperation, be it a cooperation between developing country and developed country. So let's work together, because only by doing that we'll be able to achieve what we all want to achieve: save the planet.
At global level, the UN REDD programme seeks to build consensus and knowledge about REDD+. The consultation process for Indonesia's national REDD+ strategy, which UN REDD encouraged, is a clear example of how multi-stakeholders can provide valuable inputs to develop a policy on REDD+.
Also, I think it's very clear that we are not going to succeed in reducing emissions without dealing with corruption.
Indonesia's rapid deforestation and land degradation makes the country a major contributor to climate change, which, in addition to destroying the natural environment, has serious economic and social implications for the poor and disadvantaged. This is why UN REDD aims to ensure a REDD+ structure which reduces the emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, protects the important biodiversity, and improves the lives of local people. A fair, equitable and transparent REDD+ can be part of the solution. And UN REDD aims to accelerate the efforts of the government of Indonesia to reach this goal.
Kiperapi topo bah